All right, so look, man, I know I'm late on this, but look. So the Spurs won the lottery, got the #1 pick. So you know what that means? They getting Wembanyama. So we finna react to Jimmy High Roller's video, The Harsh Truth About Wembanyama. So stay tuned. All right, look, so we finna get into this reaction. The Harsh Truth About Wembanyama. Now look, y'all can tell by the hat. Look, y'all see the Spurs? I'm not a Spurs fan. I don't want y'all to think I'm a Spurs fan, but I stay in San Antonio, so you know what that means? We finna be watching Wembanyama a lot. Oh man, we finna be watching Wembanyama a lot, boy. I'm telling you, once the Spurs found out, once they found out Spurs was getting #1 pick, people were going crazy over here. I'm talking, they were going crazy downtown. Y'all seen the video? They were like, let's go. I've never seen as many Spurs stuff. Like, I'm wearing a Spurs hat, but that's just because I like the color. I've never seen as many Spurs fans since they said that Spurs got #1 pick. I'm telling you, I'm excited that Spurs got Wembanyama. Now we finna get into. I won't hold that no longer. Let's get it.
The San Antonio Spurs were one of the worst teams in the entire NBA. Finishing the season with just 20 wins and with a rookie head coach leading the way, their future was uncertain. Their
old then.
Two best players were an aging Dominique Wilkins, just 1 year away from his last
Dominique
NBA
Wilkins
season, and their franchise player in David Robinson, who was sidelined with a season-ending injury that would linger for the rest of his career. The franchise was in a downward spiral with no end in sight. But what they did have was one more chance to make it right. Coming off the worst season in franchise history, the Spurs were given the third best odds to get the first overall pick in the 1997 draft. Exactly what the organization needed to rejuvenate their roster. But according to pre-draft evaluations, the gap between the potential first pick and the third pick was massive. Get the third pick and settle for a small forward out of Utah named Keith Van Horn.
I remember Keith Van Horn.
Or win the lottery.
He played with like Dallas or
and land on the best NBA prospect in over a decade. A 4-year starter out of Wake Forest by the name of...
Dang. Ooh. This draft class, I don't know nobody, I feel like. I don't know none of these people. But look, I see Tim Duncan, but look what I see. I see Chauncey, but I only tried T-Mac, but he was in high school though.
Of Tim Duncan.
That's all I see. That's the only people I recognize.
The future of the Spurs franchise and the future of the NBA would change forever.
The second pick in the 1997 NBA draft goes to the Philadelphia 76ers. And that means that the first pick in the 1997 NBA draft goes to the San Antonio Spurs. Congratulations.
Their colors is clean.
See this guy right here? That's Spurs chairman Peter Holt. And in this moment, he was the happiest man on earth because he just won the first overall pick in the 97 NBA draft. Who he would pick was already a foregone conclusion.
Timmy.
But not Peter or anyone else at the time knew that the Spurs just won the rights to one of the greatest players in the history of the game.
That's crazy. I bet you they probably like, oh yeah, Tim Duncan a dog. They didn't realize how much of a dog that man really was.
This very moment was the beginning of one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history.
Spurs
and now 26 years later, luck would have it that the Spurs have found themselves right in the middle of another historic night.
Wembanyama finna be playing here, man. Oh, that's gonna be clean.
Once again.
I made a video. It's crazy. I made a video about this man Wembanyama. I said this man is 7'5". He's shooting step back. He play like a guard, but he block everything. But he got like a handle too. Like, man.
Because they now have the rights to the #1 overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. And the prospect they plan on picking up is claimed to be bigger and better than anything we have ever seen. As we get closer to draft day, the hype surrounding Victor Wembanyama is growing by the minute. Experts
I let him play a little bit more.
He's the greatest prospect in the history of the sport.
Okay, I said I let it play, but I gotta pause it here. This is this is one thing I would hate. Like, you won a challenge, of course. Like, you're competitive, especially when you play sports and all this. Especially when you're great, you're competitive. They say They said this man Wembanyama will be in the gym hours after practice, stuff like that. So he got the work ethic. The thing is, though, these expectations are out of. I heard on First Things First, Broussard was like, Chris Broussard, he said, if Wembanyama's not Hakeem Olajuwon, then it's considered a failure. Hakeem Olajuwon. Come on. They said he needs a career like Bird, Magic, Shaq. I don't even know if he said Shaq. You might have said Shaq might be a failure. But I know he said Bird. He needs a career like Bird, Magic, LeBron, Jordan, or Kareem. Like literally the top 5 all time. Or else he'll be considered a bust. Like I thought LeBron's hype was crazy as it is. Cause they had a high school game when he was playing who was it? Oak Hill. They showed he was in high school. I don't even know if this man was a senior yet. But this man, they showed Wilt, Larry, Magic, Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, talking about LeBron is amongst them. Like he's the one that's supposed to be amongst them. Like that's crazy pressure for an 18-year-old.
Some even claiming he's the best prospect of any sport.
That's
ever.
wild.
The franchise that
he's the best
him
prospect
to have hit the
in history of all sport, of human sports.
2 decades of success and championships.
In the history of all sports,
but
in human history.
How good can one prospect actually be? Fans already talking about future championships for the Spurs since they've essentially landed Victor. But turning potential greatness into
gonna be live
real
to see that
winning
man play.
championships
It's
is
gonna
a
be
task
live.
that very few players have ever been capable of doing.
Ooh, this is gonna be
Today's video
live.
is sponsored by
So y'all know the playoffs is here and the playoffs is bigger and better. So look, why not win some money while you're watching these great playoff games? So check out Underdog, the fantasy sports app. You can do a fantasy draft against other players around the world, or you can do the pick'em entry, which I play all the time. Pick'em entry, you go higher or lower on their projected stats, and if you get them right, you win big. So look, you can win up to 20 times your money. Look, I know I'm gonna win. Question is, are you? So if you're up for the challenge, click the link in the description, use the promo code Blair, and I'll 100% match your deposit up to $100. So if you put in 100, I'm putting in an extra 100 for you to play and win money. So if you're up for the challenge, click the link, use the code, and message me if you win and show me what you won so I can put it on the next video. Now back to the video.
Out of the last 25 #1 overall draft picks, how many do y'all think have won a Finals MVP? Maybe 4 or 5?
Let me look. Let's look, actually. I want to look. Dog, Ben Simmons is such a disappointment. He low-key don't deserve to even be on this list. It's only LeBron. That's wild.
How about 1? There has been one #1 overall pick in the last 25 seasons who has won a Finals MVP. But Finals MVPs are about the toughest thing to win in all of basketball. So what about regular season MVPs?
Regular season MVPs. We got LeBron, D Rose. LeBron, D Rose. I don't know if Dwight won one. I know LeBron and D Rose won one. I don't think Dwight won one, so I'm going to say 2.
How many of the last 25 first overall picks have won at least one of those?
I'm going to say 2.
2. LeBron James and Derrick Rose. That's it. But how about this? How many of the last 25 #1 overall picks do you think have won a championship?
All right, so we got 1, 2, 3. I don't know if Greg Oden was on. Like, I don't know if they were like bench players at the time, but we know Kyrie's won one. We know Bogut. Dwight, because he was with the Lakers, and LeBron.
They could be a role player for all I care. As long as they have a ring, it counts.
4,
but
right?
The answer is still just 6.
Oh yeah, AD, duh. I'm tripping.
Winning
and Andrew Wiggins last year
is very hard to do.
Yeah.
Fans and experts are already putting this burden
I don't know why I
on a
overlooked
kid who
AD.
hasn't even been drafted yet. But we've done this before. Unrealistic hype and
That's
expectations
crazy.
met with inevitable
I think Greg
disappointment.
Oden would have been
It feels like
nasty if
just
he didn't get
yesterday,
hurt.
Zion Williamson was being regarded as the greatest basketball prospect of the decade. And yet here we are, 4 years later, and Zion has played in just 29 games over the last 2 seasons and has yet to play in a single playoff game. Great player, but as of right now, far from the franchise-altering force he was hyped up to be. Here's another player who was said to be a generational prospect coming into the NBA, nicknamed the Fresh Prince, being that he was the successor to LeBron King James. This
Ben Simmons. Emo the Sap. These aren't real nicknames, are they? Peacemaker, Benny, Wizard of Oz. These are real nicknames?
Being that he was the successor to LeBron King James. This is Ben Simmons, a player that was too afraid to take a shot in a playoff game and peaked in his second season in the league. And we do this to young players far more often than you think.
Don't get me started on it.
Is a solid NBA player. Nowhere near a superstar, but he could be a key piece on a championship-winning team.
That's what we thought.
Would you believe that just 3 months before he was drafted, he was labeled as a, quote, anomaly? In the moment, it always feels like the next guy up is going to be the guy.
Are they setting him up for failure?
And then shortly after, we forget about the unwarranted comparisons and move on to the next guy. But to really understand how rare it is to draft a player who becomes an all-time great, stays healthy, and stays loyal to the franchise that drafted him, we have to look at the teams and players who actually did it. If we're talking about transcendent players who led the team that drafted them to multiple championships, then that list only includes 7 players who were drafted in the modern NBA. Over 3,000 players drafted since 1980,
Tim Duncan, Kobe, Dwayne Wade, and that boy Steph Curry.
Franchise-altering talent. These players right here are icons, legends in their franchise and to the game, and they only come around about once in a decade. Now, if Victor is as good as advertised, he could be added to this list one day. But the path to get there is long and riddled with players who fell short. But in the NBA, even the stars, superstars, and once-in-a-generation talents struggle to win the ultimate
because the Spurs
prize.
need a lot more than just Wembanyama.
A phenom since he entered the NBA, so far exceeding all pre-draft expectations. And yet 5 seasons into his NBA journey, and he has yet to see the finals, and even missed the playoffs in this last season.
That's not fair. That says only 5 seasons. That man got to the conference
is
finals.
One of the greatest players
now,
to
KD,
ever touch a basketball.
I don't know about KD.
But even he had to abandon the team that drafted him to join a juggernaut of a team to win a championship. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid. The list of all-time great players who have yet to win a title or find any real success in the playoffs is massive, which makes the expectations on Wembanyama all the more baffling. To think that a 19-year-old can come into a struggling franchise and turn everything around may not be realistic. And even worse, it may not even be fair to the young man.
It's not. It's really not fair at all.
Caused by a rookie in modern NBA history was by Tim Duncan. After the Spurs drafted Duncan, their win total jumped from 20 wins in 1997 to 56 wins in 1998. A 36-win jump in Timmy's first season with the team and a championship in his second season. This is by far the greatest leap a team has ever seen simply by adding a rookie to the.
Oh my gosh, they went from 20 to 56. I think so the comparisons and all that stuff, of course it's unfair. Everything about it is completely unfair. But I will say this, he's going to the best case scenario as in getting drafted by the Spurs. Because if we look at this list here, y'all ain't gonna be able to see it because my head in the way. But y'all can see y'all should be able to read the names down here. So Tim Duncan is number 1. They went from 20 to 36. A 34-win jump happened by David Robinson, both on the Spurs. He went to the best case scenario, because then I think they'll be able to build it. I think they'll be able to build this roster around him so that they won't be garbage. Like Sohan, I've been to the games. Again, I'm from San Antonio, so I've been to these games. Like Sohan, he's solid. He had a solid rookie year too. He's a solid. I think they'll be able to build pieces around him. Now, I don't know if they'll be able to bring anyone in that's already
their
proven.
roster. Larry Bird was another
I think they'll be able to
franchise-altering player for the Celtics.
Dog, Melo
but that
got him
was
26
nearly
rings.
half a century ago. LeBron couldn't do it. KD couldn't do it. Steph and Michael took years
Wilt
to
only
pull
got
it off.
10
And
wins?
yet somehow, we
that's
don't just
weak.
want,
Come on, Wilt.
but we expect
100 points.
this 19-year-old kid to do it. I really think some fans don't understand the pressure that they are putting on Wembanyama. He could be great, amazing, injury-free, generational, and to expect this level of excellence out of him could still be far too much. Over the past 25 seasons, the average MVP finishes the season with a win share total of 15.2. Over that same time span, the average All-Star has a win share total of 10. And among the 450 active players in any given season, the average single-season win share total across the league is just 2. Now, over the last 25 years, among #1 overall picks in their rookie season, the average win share total is 4.2. That number jumps to 5.7 in their second season and then hits 7.9 in their third season. But by season 4, many of these once prodigies start to lose their minutes. They fall out of the rotation, they fail to adapt their game and skill sets to the NBA, and the average win share falls to 6.7.
Yeah, then they start going downhill.
By the time we as fans have made a decision on these players, the average win share total falls to just 5.9. About the same as the average starter in the NBA.
You're barely
This
better
is
than
the
the
career
average player.
of an average #1 overall pick in the NBA. We see #1 overall players as the guys who went on to have great careers. Guys like Kyrie and Anthony Davis and LeBron.
And
but we
Dwight.
forget that far more often, these
Anthony
#1 overall
Bennett,
picks pan out to be players like Markelle Fultz, Andrea Bargnani, and Kwame Brown. But even for the groundbreaking prospects who are league ready the day they put on an NBA jersey, the result is still rarely a championship or real hardware or impact. Over the last 25 years, the players who had the largest impact in their rookie season were Chris Paul, Ben Simmons, and Blake Griffin, followed by the 12 next best rookies of the last 25 seasons. You are looking at the
Look at Joker
greatest
right there.
rookie seasons of this century, and
that's
yet
Steve Frank.
only half of them were even the best player on their team by the end of their first season in the league. But I want y'all to take a guess at how many of these players even made the playoffs in their rookie season. Got your answer?
None.
2. Which means out of the 15 best rookies who've entered the league over the last 25 seasons,
he played with AI.
not a
AI was a
single one of
monster.
them led their team to the playoffs. And among these same 15 rookie sensations, by their third season in the league, only 4 of them managed to lead their team to the playoffs as the best player on the team. It is very hard to win in the NBA. But like some sort of gambling addict, us NBA fans like to count the wins while ignoring the losses. Somehow the countless misses we've had are outweighed by the 1 or 2
I did not realize Andrea
we got
Bargnani
right.
was
Is
first
Victor
#1
Wembanyama
pick.
the most hyped
I did
NBA
not know
prospect
that.
of all time?
I don't know why.
Well, I'm not sure. Some experts that have been around a lot longer than I have would like to say so. But if my memory serves me right, I can recall a 17-year-old LeBron.
I'm telling you, the stuff they would tell LeBron was wild.
James drawing so much attention that he managed to have an Ohio high school basketball game featured on national.
This game was wild. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all need to, if you can, look back at the intro of this game. It's gonna like show all these NBA legends, and it's gonna show LeBron James. Show LeBron James senior
Television.
year.
Long
He got
before
school
social
tomorrow.
media, the likes of LeBron James, Patrick Ewing, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar were all household names before they even put on an NBA jersey. I don't know if Wembanyama is at that level of hype at the moment, but he's getting there. And with that amount of hype comes overwhelming pressure to perform. It's easy to sit back and watch this kid play. See his incredible tools in action. 7 feet 5 inches tall, 8 foot wingspan with a silky smooth jump shot, world-class defensive instincts.
I can't wait to watch
one
this
can
man
only
play,
assume
man.
he will find immediate or even eventual success in the form of championships and cultural impact in the NBA. Coaches and scouts who have been around the game for decades and have seen every prospect rise through the ranks over the years are saying Victor Wembanyama is better than all of them.
That's
it would take
crazy.
an era-defining talent to come into the NBA and transform a franchise into a dynasty. But if Victor is everything we think he is, he may just be the next player to do it.
Oh man, this finna get good. That's it for the video, man. Make sure you like, comment, share. I'm telling you, I'm gonna go to these games. I'm gonna record some of the. I need highlight. That's all I need. First year, you don't gotta do nothing crazy. I just need the highlights, man. That's it for the video. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Catch you next. Till then, I'm out. Peace.